So let's try to get some of the wins with PFPX. It's linked and Active Sky as well. Actually, it's more like Active Sky that provides the wins. So we'll go to the from the links page. You'll go to our route data, and then take actually on the first waypoint. Take the W prompt here, the wind prompt. Gives you the winds. A sample of winds at the requested waypoint here. So what we can do is delete 200 maybe, maybe add 300 as a sample. And then we'll also delete 220 and maybe put 340 just as a sample. And execute that. Go back to route data and then request. For the moment it's still recommending 240. We'll see once we put the winds have been updated what the computer is saying. So you get the FMC com message here. If you look at the FMC itself, you got the message wind data uplink ready. It's behaving exactly like the real thing. So we go back to the legs page, go to route data, and now this time we've got the load prompt here, so we'll load the winds, and then you see the page modification route 1 data, and the W prompts here are highlighted, so you can look and see at one page and then execute. And the descent forecast also is ready, so we'll go to the descent page, go to forecast, and load the winds there. I think I've said before, the descent forecast there, it's always the same levels as a sample of levels 3.5, 3.1, 200 and 10,000, regardless of the cruising level or where you're going. And yeah, still recommending 240, so yeah. If we look at the winds, you can see at 240, 78, that's what we have at the moment. So for God key here, it's relatively accurate. Mind you, I guess it's the same wind that's injected in the simulator and injected into the forecast system of Active Sky. So the winds will be quite accurate where we have in the FMC. So yeah, we start with 78, but you almost double the wind at 340, so yeah, all makes sense. Right, we're getting ICAS back left, so we're flying 240 level. We've got all the automation engaged, speed and nav path. We'll look at the back left checklist. So the back left checklist condition, the left back is inoperative, so we'll wait 2 minutes, and this allows time for an overheat condition to cool. So very clever, the checklist. As soon as you open it, starts the timer down here. So all you have to do for the moment is wait and fly along. There's no immediate trouble, so to speak, so we can happily wait for the 2 minutes. There's no rush in doing a checklist or switching buttons or whatever. So we'll just wait and see if the overheat condition kind of clears or not. We lost a little bit of altitude. It looks like there's maybe a few simulated bumps, because the altitude here kind of changed. It was like 23,990 or 980, whatever. Now it's back to exactly 24, so there's like a few simulated bumps. About 40 seconds to go. We'll see if it clears or not. Okay, so we waited 2 minutes. Air condition reset switch, push and hold for 1 second. So the air conditioning reset button is up here. Well, in the simulation here it's difficult, but press it. Try to hold it, but it's difficult to hold it there. Just presses it. But the checklist has sensed that we have done the action, and then wait for another 2 minutes, and the timer has started again. See in the top right there, 141, 140 now. So we'll wait again for the 2 minutes. So I had clear, but the trimmer is coming back. But that's maybe not a good sign, and the back left message is coming back again. Okay, we'll wait for the 2 minutes and see what happens. Once again, this is not like a time critical failures. No worries there. And at this stage also the aircraft is perfectly capable to fly with only one pack. One pack can provide the air conditioning and pressurization to the aircraft, no problem. Two packs not working, that's a problem because the aircraft will slowly depressurize. But one pack is not a problem. That's why there are two packs. Like there's two engines and two of everything. It's for like redundancy. But yeah, one pack US is not a problem. So wait 2 minutes. That's done. And then that's the interesting thing with Boeing is it kind of reads a little bit funny. It's, you know, it says back left message stays blank. Well, it was never blank in the first instance. The message is still there, so stays blank, no. And the back left message shows again, yes. And then it prompts us the left back switch to off. We'll go to the overhead and the left back switch, this one here. We'll switch it off from the auto position, we'll switch it off. And that's the... we don't see all of it there, here it is. That's the back left checklist complete. So we'll close the checklist there. And then review the ICAS. We got back left. We can cancel the ICAS. Okay. I think it was also on the status. Oh no, it's kind of gone from the status, so no problem. The status anyway in flight is not really something that is to be acted upon. It's good for information to see what the aircraft system are doing, but there's no checklist for status items there. Status messages, so we kind of only react to what's on the ICAS up here, all these amber messages, but we don't really react to status messages. Status messages are more like for information. And you can see as well here on the navigation display, I'll decrease the range again. You could see a little bit the weather that was painting on active sky early on. Those little green, yellow and red returns there. There's a little bit of weather, but it's at lower levels. Oops, sorry about the view. Yeah, a tiny bit of weather, you know, the wind simulated here is obviously not perfect, but it's actually quite well done when you think about it. So yeah, so with to go back to our problem, our back left problem, then once we are aware of an issue like this, then you can kind of try to relay the information to the company, and so that they can inform engineering and get ready for you know, the next flight, or you know, or possibly try to fix the aircraft. If they can't fix the aircraft, then once again the fault will be MEL'd, as we say. So we'll use again the minimum equipment list and yeah, dispatch the aircraft with the inoperative item. There's only really the main few functions of the aircraft that would prevent it from being dispatched. You could easily dispatch with a backing up like this. It's usually not a problem. Visits the cockpit en route possible or strictly forbidden nowadays? No, it's still forbidden at this stage. Yeah, it's more for like security concerns. Yeah, it's the way it is. It's a shame because obviously before it used to be allowed, and there was no problem. But like September 9/11 obviously has kind of changed the game. So we can't do it anymore, unfortunately. Any airline, I suppose. Mind you, some seem to be a little bit more relaxed, but like generally in the cruise it's not allowed. When I say that some airlines are a little bit more relaxed, I think it's more like, you know, if they've got like staff traveling or people that they know, maybe sometimes they are allowed in the flight deck, but generally no, it's not really something that is allowed. It's a shame. We'll have a look at the weather at destination. It's not gonna be snowing, so it's alright. So 040 at 7, Cavoke 21 degrees and 1013. So very often, whenever we got the weather report for the destination, we would preset the QNH here and the PFD just as a reference, and at least if later on we don't get the information, or it's a way to cross-check as well, you know, where we had before and what's provided later on. If there's a huge discrepancy, then that's like a red flag to kind of try to clarify if the FM makes sense. So if, for example, like an hour or two before landing, the QNH is reported as 1013, and then during the approach they say 990, then it's like, oh, hold on, you know, there's a problem there. So, yeah. And what we would do as well is we would set it into the standard and the standby altimeter, so 1013, and then go back to standard there. So you kind of keep in the memory of the standby altimeter there the QNH for the arrival airport, and then blank it. As I said, the standby altimeter doesn't do anything with the autopilot, so you can change it at will. If I was changing the altimeter there, then mind you, it's 1013 is the same as standard, so nothing would happen really. But if there's a difference between standard, which is 1013, and QNH, that will be maybe, I don't know, 1030 or 990, the autopilot and the altitude would probably change, so I have to be careful with that. So we'll go for runway 33 left in Kuwait, so we'll check the recall. We got back left, so I can cancel that. We'll check the notes. I'll have to go actually to the descent page there on the checklist, and there are no notes. There's no really any implications for just the one pack in up. So I can close the checklist. Then let's have a look Still looking actually at the departure airport for the arrivals there, so I'll have to go into index and then go to our destination today, arrival, and minus 33 left. The last point of the flight plan is Depty, so it's gonna be Depty to Charlie, 33 left, I would imagine. And then the transition, if I set the EFB, the star, so 33 left, Depty to Charlie, and it's via Ralva then. Okay, activate. So you can see Depty is the last waypoint, and then it transition towards Pedal, Ralva, and then the ILS. And you can set the approach as well. Select approach, 33 left, ILS 33 left, yeah, Ralva, transition, okay, and activate. So that's more useful there. It's a little bit like the Jefferson top of the chart there. You've got the header there with the ILS frequency 1095, the approach course which you would set on 737 for example, but on the 777 you don't need the FAF altitude 2000 feet, which is the platform here. Decision altitude 405. I'm not sure if this is correct or not, sometimes it's not, but today we'll just assume that it is. And the touchdown zone elevation 205 feet, which is what the decision altitude here is based on, 200 feet on top of the touchdown zone elevation there. So we can go back to our thing here. Let me close that. So finish to select the arrival via Ralva. And execute. Go to the legs page. Depty is in here. Pedal. We'll actually try to, although it's a hard altitude, try maybe to make it like above. So 3000 feet or above to keep the continuous descent going. Execute that. Then we've got Ralva, that's correct. And then the ILS. So center fix here, final fix, and 6 miles to the runway. And for the missed approach, it was left turn back to the VOR. So after 4 miles, I think. So yeah, that makes sense. We've got 4 miles and then back to the VOR 3000 feet. So that's on it. So as you can see, we really kind of fly with the computer on this aircraft. 737, you kind of also fly with the computer, but because you set the courses, you set the frequencies like manually, it's a little bit more like manual input, but for this aircraft everything is done really in the FMC. There's no really any manual input except maybe just the minima there 405, otherwise the rest is all through the computer. And then we'll check our VRF. So predicts we're gonna be landing with 10.7, and our zero fuel rate is 224.4, so that's gonna be 234.4, 235.1. So on the approach ref page here, we go to 235.1. And it's gonna drop the speed by 1 knot, so flap 30, 145. That's it. Top of descent in 120 miles. And for the auto brake, we'll go 3. It's usually a good value. one last thing I'd like to do, but that's really a personal thing, is to put the runway here in the fixed page and put like a circle around it, usually about 7 or 8 miles, just to show me on the display here when I kind of need to drop the gear and start the configuration for the landing. The only trick in this thing is to make sure, obviously, it's the right runway you input, because if you input the wrong runway, or if for example here I put like 3-3 left and then the arrival is on 1-5 left, obviously the 8-mile ring is not gonna be 8 miles from runway 1-5 left, because the point reference is obviously not in the same location. So for 1-5 left, for example, the 8 miles will be closer in. So, or for if I leave 3-3 left and we are coming on 1-5 left or 1-5 right, the 8-mile ring will be closer into runway 1-5. So yeah, that's the only trick. And you can see here in the FMC actually only shows the name of the airport, whereas in the real aircraft they would actually show you this point like this. If I pull it again, runway 3-3 left, and the fixed page, you will get this here. And I pull it again. But here in the simulation it shows the ICAO code of the airport. That's a little difference. Descent checklist.
Stand by. Descent checklist. Recall. Checked. Notes.
Checked.
Auto brake level 3. Landing data.
VRF is 145, minimums 405 feet.
VREF 145, minimums 405 feet. Approach briefing.
Completed.
Descent checklist complete.
Diverted due to a sick passenger, no. But kind of asking for priority on arrival to landing. For some reason, it seems to kind of always happen, at least to me. Touch wood. I've had to ask kind of priority for landing on arrival. The problems were kind of taking place towards the end of the flight, so yeah, I've had to ask for a priority landing a few times just to expedite the arrival so that the passenger can be taken care of. But otherwise, in flight, said it's not really happened to me before. It might happen next time. You never know. But to be honest with you, to divert for a sick passenger, it's kind of taking a little bit of time to get in motion. We've got like some sort of a protocol to get things analyzed, and we'll get in touch with some sort of a helpline. It's a bit like who wants to be a millionaire, you know, phone a friend. So yeah, we'll get in touch with the medical helpline, and the crew has also like some sort of portable thing in the aircraft that connects to satellite and then sends the information to the ground to pick up like all the vitals of somebody, you know. So if somebody is, you know, the aircraft is not feeling good or anything, then they will connect like the machine, and the machine will send like all the vitals back to the ground and to the medical helpline, and they could see pretty much in real time, you know, the condition of the patient, I guess, at that stage. And depending on the situation, then they will make a decision as to where they want us to divert with. And it actually kind of makes sense, because on the ground they would know exactly from where we are in the sky, you know, where our geographical location is, where will be the best airport to go to. Maybe one city would have like top-notch like heart surgeons or whatever, and other places would have, you know, medical facilities who are very good to deal with another kind of medical case. So the medical people on the ground would know exactly, you know, what the best place to go to, and if we can go to it, then we'll give them the green light and say, yeah, okay, we can divert to that place rather than us ourselves. I mean, obviously we are familiar with the airports on our network, but we don't really know where the medical facilities are or where the best medical facilities are, you know, in relation to the case we have on board. So yeah, it's a kind of concerted effort. The longest flight is probably in the region of 16 hours, I would say. Yeah. It's a long day. I do prefer, in a sense, the shorter ones, because at least like things happen relatively quickly. And in my previous job, I used to do kind of short haul in Europe, so as well. So I was kind of you know, up and down all day, and I do prefer like the shorter ones, but it's a different sort of flying, because the shorter ones, you'll go up and down. Sometimes it's like turnarounds, so then you'll have to fly back. Whereas if you go for 16 hours, then yeah, you've got all day. You know, you're gonna be there's gonna be 4 of us, and we're gonna be flying for maybe like 6.5, 7 hours. Then go to the CRC for rest, come back maybe for the landing if you're the operating crew. So things are much slower, and then if you know you've flown for 16 hours, then usually you go to a nice destination as well. You're gonna get a long layover, so it's yeah, it's different fish altogether. Seatbelts on.
Seatbelt signs coming on.
Alright, so the seatbelt sign will come on pretty much as we start the descent now. Mind you, we were at like a relatively low level, so but that's more or less between maybe 20,000 feet now. The seatbelt sign would come on, so it's obviously a sign for passengers to return to their seats, get strapped on, and that way allow the cabin crew to finish tidy up, you know, the cabin to get ready for landing. Well, that's a good question, Tommy Tomte, about the logbooks. As far as I'm aware, and I've not done actually my logbook for quite some time actually. I really need to catch up, but at the moment I've got 3 logbooks. The third one was about halfway done, or maybe, yeah, between 1/3 and maybe halfway done, but I've not done it for quite some time, so I actually need to catch up on that. And I still have the old paper logbooks. A lot of colleagues and friends have like electronic logbooks, so it's actually easier to kind of input and keep track, and also from the IT systems we have at work, you can transfer the hours directly onto the electronic logbook, which you can't really do on a paper one. So yeah, but yeah, I still need to catch up on my logbook. You know, I'm way behind. I've not done it for at least like 2 or 3 years. Yeah, I could start electronic version. To tell the truth, like the logbook in itself is more relief than you think about moving to another airline. Obviously, to kind of testify like you know, your flying time experience and your flying hours. For the moment, I'm not really thinking of moving to another place, so I've kind of become a little bit kind of who cares, you know, because I'm not really planning on moving on, so I'm quite satisfied where I am at the moment. So yeah, that's also why I've not really bothered updating it. But if I was going for like a new job, then I would have to kind of provide, you know, up-to-date logbooks and all that stuff. No, the company doesn't really care too much, because once you're in the company, then they've got, as I said, like other ways to keep track of what you're actually flying for the company itself. So there's not really a major concern for the company if we don't keep our personal logbook up to date, because as I said, they've got like IT systems where all the flying we do is recorded. And if, for example, you want to go for promotion to instructor or whatever, they'll know exactly what your flying hours are. They don't need like our personal logbooks to kind of work it out. They keep track of everything. So yeah, I don't think they would particularly bother about the personal logbooks. Yeah. And the company kind of, as I said, like keeps track of all the flight and all the hours. So if I want to catch up, then I can go into like the computer, well, the IT system of the company, and kind of find information on all the flights, every single flight I've done. I can trace back the information and all the details. So it will be quite easy to get the information. A lot of work to write down all the flights into the logbook, but to get access to the information is very easy. So. It depends really. Obviously, after all those years, the novelty has worn off. When I first started, like many years ago, it was not really having the feeling of going to work. It was more like, hey, today we're going flying, cool. It was always exciting. It was like something new, and it's true, after like a few years, then it's becoming a little bit more routine, and it's more like a feeling of back to work again. But because I'm still relatively passionate about it, it's still relatively exciting to go and fly. Above all, if you go to a nice destination, or somewhere you like to go to, or you've made specific plans to go somewhere, then yeah, definitely it's still exciting to go flying. I think the day will become like absolutely boring and like a chore, then maybe it'll be time to do something else. But at the moment, still keep the dream alive, so to speak. Approach checklist.
10,000 feet. Approach checklist. Altimeters.
1013 set.
1013. Approach checklist complete. Cabin crew, prepare for landing.
Not sure why FS2 crew didn't close the checklist now. A few clouds, but it's not looking too bad. Yeah, on the layover, most of the time we have time to go and explore a little bit, the place where we go to. So I would say maybe 2/3, like 3/4 of the time, we are like in a hotel, like in the city centers. Sometimes we stay like close to an airport, but if you guys stay close to the airport, then there's always ways to kind of go to the city centers, and you know you can get into public transportation and all these things. So yeah, you definitely have the time to go and explore a little bit, and that kind of adds up to the enjoyment of the job as well. You know, to go to even if you've already been somewhere, it's always you can kind of find new plans, new things to do. So even if I've been to let's say like to New York like quite a few times already, you can always kind of find new ways or new things to do, and it's always nice to go somewhere like you enjoy. So yeah. No, the voice commands are like part of FS2 crew. Let me type it for you. Oops. So yeah, so kind of simulates crew work a little bit. And I do enjoy it. As I said, like this is like a two-man aircraft, and to fly this thing like by myself, like already, it's a very kind of sterile environment to do it here in the PC. So it kind of helps, you know, for the flaps, the gear, to do the checklist. It kind of simulates the whole crew work, which I quite like. Right, we're gonna try to start thinking about decelerating a little bit. So we'll use a little bit of speed brake. And we'll assume we are clear for the ILS, so we'll out the approach mode. And we've got a localizer and glide slope armed. So at pedal it needs to be 3,000 feet or above, so we're still good, like 5,200. With about 19 miles to go, it's looking good. But while we start extending some of the flaps, the rate of descent is gonna decrease, so we need to keep an eye on the vertical profile to make sure we're not too high. The glide slope here, that white lozenge, is a little bit above, so it's gonna help, but we're gonna need maybe to use a little bit of speed brake. Flaps 1.
Speed check flaps 1.
You see, as soon as you start decelerating, the rate of descent is reducing significantly there. I got localizer.
Check.
Flaps 5.
Speed check flaps 5.
Glide slope capture.
Check. 1,000 feet to level off.
Flaps 15.
Speed check flaps 15.
Here's the airport. Dummy empty. No, negative on that one. And I don't really want one, to be honest. Gear down.
Gear down.
2500.
Flaps 20.
Speed check flaps 20. Cabin crew, take your seats.
So I'm using the gear a little bit to help with the deceleration. We still have 8 miles to landing, but for some reason it's a little bit slow to decelerate sometimes here. The aircraft tends to decelerate a little bit more easily. So. Flaps 30.
Speed check flaps 30.
Landing checklist.
Landing checklist. Landing checklist complete. Approach stable.
1000.
Check.
Approaching 3 left.
Flight director. Flying manually. Wish me luck.
500.
Check.
Plus 100.
Approaching minimums.
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 Landing.
Checked.
Continue.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Speed brakes up. Reversers normal. 60 knots.
Manual braking.
Check.
Alright, here we are. We'll take, is it this one or the next one? Or the next one. I'll make the taxiing easier. Check. So normally to stow away the speed brake is the signal to for FS2 crew to start cleaning up the aircraft. Otherwise you can say as well like OK to clean up, And it's actually like a real thing as well to use stowing the speed brake as a signal for the first officer to do that. So obviously I started the APU and the APU doesn't work, so we're not gonna have any APU. So obviously on arrival, then what you need to do is keep one engine running until they connect the ground power, and then once the ground power is connected, then you can shut down the second engine. So gate 5 is right here. I can see the ground equipment, the stairs and stuff. The APU will shut down. Because obviously if we knew the APU was not working, we wouldn't start it, but FS2 Cruise just followed the normal flow and started it. Okay, turning onto the stand. Lights and doors.
Cabin crew disarm doors and cross-check.
Don't stop. No. The brake button is very sensitive there. Cool. Okay. So parking brake is set. Then we'll have to simulate. We'll cut down the number 2 engine on the right. That's where the ground power receptacle is. So we don't make noise and kind of distress the guy who's gonna plug in the ground power. And then we'll go to setup here. No, wrong one. FS actions. No. Oh, FS2 crew is getting. He's gonna. FS2 crew is getting confused there. So ground connections connected. Yeah, it's connected. So we'll take the primary and the secondary external power, and now we can shut down the engine. At least we've got electricity, and then the seatbelt sign will come off and everything. He kind of did it a little bit too quick, but that's about it really. We'll switch off this one, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
I am ready for the checklist.
Shutdown checklist.
Shutdown checklist. Parking brake.
Set.
Shutdown checklist complete.
And he didn't switch off his weather radar as well, or her radar radar, since it's a lady pilot. Yeah, so here we are.